all complexions called human. And out of this blackness, passion flows like a river. Feelings tell the truth. Song and dance and making you laugh are family members. Understand what black is. The breath you breathe, the sweat on your brow, the cheers and the tears balancing the world on your head. Faith is the glue that holds us all together. This is your blackness, not some horror story of lost souls drifting into the land of perversion. Black as love is a light shining on a path leading to the sun, or caressed in the bosom of the moon. Understand what black is. Power you must yield to. A force so strong, we try to sleep it away. They say you must be electric and plugged in to the sockets of the world. Black is humanity. Understand what black is. Understand black. Black is humanity. That beautiful chord on a 12-string guitar that makes you smile, that offers comfort in turbulent times, provides food when there is nothing to eat, a shelter when there is nowhere to live. Black is humanity, making hope stand tall and not wilt, because black knows. Did it before, tested by fire, washed in the waters of life. Black is hot, black is cool, black is wise, and could never be a fool. Understand what black is. Black is a hero, not a villain. Black is the essence, sealed with a kiss. Black is a stone we build our dreams on, a shadow at evening's mist. Bigger than reality, blending in to the night, to let the sun chill and watch the stars dance in rhythm, in music, to our souls. Understand what black is. Understand black.
Hello and welcome. I hope everyone is doing okay out there. My name is Siobhàn McGrath and I am the engagement producer at Artsadmin. I'm a white woman in my 30s with long dark hair. My pronouns are she, her. We are so excited to have you all here with us for a screening of The Forgotten People and the chance to hear from the creatives behind the film. Artsadmin commissioned The Forgotten People last year as part of our work within the criminal justice system, and I was lucky enough to produce this film alongside Tracy Kiryango and Brenda Burunji, also known as Lady Unchained. This work is supported from BPART through the Creative Europe programme of the European Union. I have a few housekeeping things that I need to run through before we get to the good stuff, so bear with me. For this event, audience mics and cameras are automatically turned off, so please just relax and enjoy. We will have a question and answer session at the end, so please type your questions into the Q&A box that you hopefully can see at the bottom of your screen. If you have any issues during the event, be that a tech issue or something else that you need help with, please use the chat function to tell us. My colleague Grace is on standby and will try and help you as best as she can. So that's the Q&A function for questions and the chat function for any issues you might need help with. I should tell you that this session is being recorded. As you can see, we have the fantastic Rachel Jones with us providing BSL interpretation. So thank you very much, Rachel. Captioning is also available if that is something that you would like to access. You can do that by clicking the button that says CC in the bottom right hand of your screen on the bar there. Hopefully that's all the housekeeping done and clear, but do let us know through the chat function if you need any support. On to the good bit. Our panellists tonight are two wonderful women, Lady Unchained, also known as Brenda Burunji, or the other way around, I should have said, yeah. Brenda Burunji, also known as Lady Unchained. His mission is to prove that there is life after prison. Through poetry, she tells her own personal story and the stories of those with experience of the criminal justice system that are often left untold because of shame, stigma, and negative labels. Lady Unchained has worked with a number of charities, including Body and Soul, Working Chance, and Safe Ground. She hosts Unchained Nights in partnership with Artsadmin at Toynbee Studios, a night of inspirational storytelling through poetry and music performed by artists with lived experience of the justice system. She also co-hosts the National Prison Radio show We Are Straight Line, a show about getting out and staying out of prison. Tracy Kiryango is a filmmaker with over 8 years of filming and editing experience. Tracy has a strong background in storytelling through film, having written, directed and produced her own short films and worked previously on documentaries for The Telegraph, Express newspapers and 2/4 Broadcast. Tracy runs her own company, Ace Productions, where she collaborates with other creatives to make music videos, visual poems, behind the scenes videos, films, anything that gives her an opportunity to elevate her craft. Before we hand over to those brilliant women, we will watch the film The Forgotten People together at home, I suppose. So now we will watch the film. Afterwards, we'll hand straight over to Tracy and Brenda. Please enjoy. Thanks so much.
I had to see it, so I pressed play. You've got this white police officer with his knee on somebody's neck. When I was looking at the police officer and his face was enjoying it. He was enjoying what he was doing.
Please stop killing us. I speak for the forgotten people, the ones you would rather see buried, tortured, and would call yourself lucky if you never had to see us. We are not your slaves, your prisoners, and we will never be your property, not again.
We've got to rise. Oh.
Guess that's why you throw us in cages, paint hateful words on our streets, throw rocks and stones in the form of police brutality, and still we rise. Our bodies have been abused so many times throughout history, you hoped will be extinct. We cry out with destruction and abuse because that's what you taught us. The one who inflicts the most pain is the master, so stop asking how we got this way.
In 2020, how are we still having to remind people that Black Lives Matter too?
Maybe ask yourself why your ancestors put mine in boxes they knew they can never fit in. And after fighting you with every breath, sometimes their last, they started to break their own bones just to please you. Not because they were weak, but after oppressing one's soul and spirit, the body is weakened and the flesh starts to lose the hope to live.
I want to say is that what you can do if you are a white person is to engage in these uncomfortable conversations about prejudice and about your own.
I'm not here to pass blame or justify why there's so much bloodshed in a society we claim works. I'm asking you to stand up for human rights. I'm asking you to stand up and speak out instead of avoiding the problem that we see and still do nothing about. I'm asking you to understand that we are all connected through sight, sound and touch, and every time we look up we see the same sky. We breathe the same air, and when we bleed the same colour. So if black people no longer exist, tell me who or what will be next. And are you willing to find out? Or will you help me build an unchained world where love is love and colour? Well, colour is for balloons at parties. Rise, my nations, rise.
Stand up. We've got to stand up.
On this topic of racism and white people feeling uncomfortable, I don't understand why should they feel uncomfortable and vulnerable where we're the ones that have made all the changes.
But even in the slavery museum, a security guard followed us around the whole time we were there.
Hi. Oh my God. Okay. So, hello. Let me just do quick introductions before I even start getting excited. My name is Brenda, aka Lady Unchained. My pronouns are she, her. I am a Black African British woman with a big, massive afro, and wearing some big African earrings at the moment.
Hello, my name is Tracy, and I'm the filmmaker of this film. I am 30 years old. I am a Black woman, Swedish Black African woman to be exact, and I have locks, and I'm wearing a orange top. So, you ready, guys? Are you ready? First of all, how do you feel now that the film is finally out?
Do you know what, like, Tracy, you know we've been waiting for this for a minute. We've been waiting for a minute, so I feel so like I don't even know how I feel, because we waited so long for it to come out, and you know what was happening behind closed doors. Like I feel like before it came out, I was like, oh, my face and my eyebrow and my lip and this, and then when it all came together, I think it's the message that when I saw it come out, like on the 18th, I was like, am I seeing this for the first time? So I just want to like shout you out quickly because that was dope.
Thank you. Most importantly, for actually trusting me to help you put this film together. I think that's the most important thing, because the great thing was it was a great opportunity for us to actually collaborate, and what I think we created ended up being very, very, very beautiful. And I hope that I was able to capture you the way you wanted to be seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah? Yes, I felt every single scene. Like, you know, from the tracksuit zooming in to me brushing it down. Like, I mean, every single part of it. Like, there's pictures that we shared behind the scenes, but I feel like those pictures don't say enough for like what was actually happening behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yeah, you're amazing. And can I just say to everybody, like, this is that we're both Ugandan. Like, I don't know how Artsadmin just came and just connected the two of us. Like, this is Swedish. You get me? Like, you got two Ugandan women just kind of representing, and you can see it throughout the video. So yeah, you captured it perfectly.
Thank you. So are you ready to get started? Should I
Yes.
start with the first question? So first off, can you tell us a bit about what led you to the creation of this poem, The Forgotten People?
Okay, so wow. All right. Everybody knows that I talk about, you know, my prison sentence. Again, I went to jail at the age of 21 for 2.5 years for defending my sister when she was attacked in a nightclub. And to be honest, I never really thought, you know, when I went up against the criminal justice system or being on trial or whatever, I never once like thought that it was like anything to do with me being black. I was just like, well, you commit a crime, you do the time. But everybody was telling me, you won't go to jail. You're a black woman. You've never been in trouble. Like, you know, this is fine. And you're going to get off. You was defending your sister. I had to learn how black people were treated through the criminal justice system by being there. And again, I always say that this is why I went to prison. I don't think it was just that I committed a crime and I had to go to jail. I think it was a deeper message, like God had already written it out, and I was meant to go there in order to see, feel what people, especially of color, go through in the criminal justice system, and I guess share it. And it's taken me a long time to share such deep stuff. So this whole poem, to be honest, Artsadmin, I've been working with them for like how many years now? Like forever. It feels like forever. But they asked me if I wanted to go to Rotterdam. And to be honest, I just saw a tree on this island in Rotterdam, and it just brought so many feelings. It was like, for a second, I mean, I was the only black person on the island. That doesn't bother me. I can be 5,000 black people in a room of 5,000 white people. It's fine. But the tree kind of just reminded me of, like, you know, when you see the pictures of, sorry guys, we're live, by the way. I have a dog. Susan said hi. It reminded me of seeing black people dying and black people being hanged on trees, and kind of like, I felt like, how amazing would it be to write a poem that talks about what black people change, because the whole trip was about change and changing the way we think. And for me, it was like, how amazing would it be to write this poem, perform it in this tree as a black woman, knowing that it's not going to be my last words, you know? So of course, what happened was George Floyd got murdered, like, and that's something that we all had to wake up and could not close our eyes to. And when that happened, the Forgotten People was already there, and it was like, how powerful would it be to get all different kinds of people, not just black people, you know, white people, Asian people, to kind of feature in this poem, to talk about, I guess, how they reacted or how they kind of felt after George Floyd's murder. And so I have there were so many different voices, and I want to shout them all out because they all did amazing. We couldn't add all of it in there, but it was just to see that actually, I can't just let this sit here. You know, when Artsadmin said that they're going to commission it, I was like, okay, so this is my campaign. This is how I march, because as a black woman with a criminal record, I can't march. You know, I can't go out angry, because I was angry, you know, and as someone with a criminal record, if I go out and march and lead people to, if an officer comes and we get into it, I mean, I'm the one that's going to I will be the one that helped organize it, you know, straight away, I'm kind of labeled as that. And what that's also shown me is that as a black woman, I never once thought that I should be privileged enough to come out of the criminal justice system alive. You know, those faces, you know, I had to research and find these faces and these people that have been here years before I even was here. I wouldn't have even known about them, you know, but they went into the criminal justice system or came into contact with police officers and were left paralyzed, dead, or, you know, and how, as a black woman, like, I could have died, you know, this could have been a story that somebody else is sharing. Oh, Brenda, I could have been one of those people in the video, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we talk about this, and not just talk about it, but create a campaign that, I guess, opens up people's minds to the conversation. What can I do to help, you know, change this? Because we're all one. So yeah, I think I went off, but yeah.
No, you didn't. I am very curious. What was the process like for you when you were sitting down and writing it? Was it something you did in one go, or was it something that you did in stages?
I feel like that Forgotten People, I kind of wrote it in like 2 days. And it was because again there was kind of like trying to perform it at the in Rotterdam, it was like, I don't know, I kind of felt like they weren't understanding what the reason was. So I, again, as a Black woman, kind of felt a bit like, are they trying to silence me because I'm the only Black woman here? And they kind of felt like the story was too strong, like the poem was too strong. And I thought, this is why it's too strong, because it's a message. And I'll be honest, you know, Siobhàn knows, I spoke to Artsadmin about it, and I did really not want to perform it in Rotterdam because I just weren't sure. But there's a woman who I met, and she said to me, you should never feel embarrassed of your pain. You should never feel ashamed to share your pain. And the pain that you're feeling is not only your own, but also the women that have come before you, those that fought for you to be here. And that's the only reason I performed it. But it was 2 days piece of writing. And I can't lie, even writing it, it's not my usual stuff. It was really like, I don't know where that came from. That's, sometimes I do grab a pen and like, I feel like I get possessed with a pen, like with some spirit. I think that's an ancestor that just said, do you feel me? Can you write this down? Like, you know, so I feel like one of the ancestors was like, yeah, you got to write this because you got to tell this message.
And when it came to just before you contacted me, I'm just wondering, did you have to rewrite anything? Like, were there any words that you changed, or did you keep true to the way that it was when you initially wrote it?
Do you know what's so funny? When I wrote it, I thought it was a bit short. I was like, this is not like, it might need another like verse or something. And I don't like pushing myself too much, you know, like if the story's not coming out, if the message is not coming out, I have to leave it as that. In the future, I could get another verse that sits well with it. But the way it was, I didn't have to change anything. It was like the stories, the voices of the people that volunteered to tell their story as well, and their response to George Floyd's murder, it just made it more powerful. And it was shocking. Like, I think even working with my producer, Alex, it was like, we was kind of amazed how it all just gelled together, you know?
I hear that. Wait.
So I want to ask you, because obviously you came up with the whole, you know, the plan of having the different scenes. And basically, how did you come to that creative process? Because like, I had my own idea, and then you send me like the draft, and like, this is what I feel like it could be like. What do you think? You read my poem. How did you come from reading my poem to deciding that we're gonna need this, and this scene to make it work?
It's actually quite funny. So obviously Siobhàn contacted me initially, and she literally just basically talked to me about you. And then I did some research on you as well, just to like see the type of poems that you've done before, just to see how you perform, to get a feel for you as a person. And then obviously she sent me the poem, then I read through the poem, and I was like, this is really detailed. But like, it's so beautifully written in that it's just like the way you have a way of making people feel really, I don't think empathetic is the right word, but you help people connect to your experience, or connect to an experience they've probably never had in their life, to try to gauge what people are actually going through that is not in their life, or experiences that they themselves have had. So I think coming from that aspect of it, it just made it really interesting to read. And I thought to myself, how can I visually make that clear to people, where even when you're watching it, I hope you can kind of make sense of what we're talking about. So initially with the beginning, you're talking about a lot of details in regards to the criminal justice system. But then the second half, which I'm sorry, it is my favorite part, is the part where you're very detailed about Black bodies and how they've been abused and how they've been treated. And I really wanted to just show Black skin.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wish we had more time. I'm just going to say that right now. We had this conversation already where I was like, we're going to somehow manage to get all of this done in a day. But like, I really wanted, I wish we had more time so that we could get to get more close-ups and zoom shots of the body if we had that more time. But apart from that, we still made it look absolutely amazing with the time that we had, obviously. So that was one of like the clearest parts that I was the most keen on, just to be able to see those Black bodies as you're describing that. I hope it made it very clear. And then on top of that, when you talk about the pain that they go through, and still we're smiling, like through everything, like you can see all the abuse that has happened. We experience microaggressions every single day. Like they're just certain stuff that Black people in general, we just all experience, whether we talk about it or not. And it was just really a fun way to try to show that, but also kind of like in a sad way, but in a positive way as well. There's like a highlight to it.
Yeah, yeah, I liked that part especially because we talked about my nephew Usher, who's one of the feature kind of artists in the piece, and he was smiling at that bit, and we was all like, wait, but then actually when you read the caption, it actually says that, you know, our bodies have been abused so long, you hope to be extinct, and it's like, haha, we're not extinct. It's like, oh, we're still here. So I loved it. I felt like each moment just, like when, to be honest, that's the kind of the idea that I had. So when you sent me that, I was like, what did Siobhàn just tell her the whole idea already? Like, what's going on? And
she didn't tell me anything.
It was sick.
Absolutely nothing. She said, just read it and come back to me with like what you. I was like, what? I was like, it's very vague, but okay. But then once I read it, I was like, but also I appreciate her for that, because she really gave me an opportunity to really sit there and be like, okay, let's really create from the base, and then also to do research, because that's something that I really thrive on. Because obviously, like, as somebody who works in film, and I do a lot of script writing in my private time, because obviously I want to make stuff in the future. So from that, you get really used to like really doing research and trying to understand the character. So for me, it was like getting to understand you. Yes, we're both Ugandan, but we've had completely different experiences.
Exactly.
And for you, it was all based on just one thing. Like one thing can change the whole trajectory of your entire life. And just the idea of that was so horrifying. But then also it was such a great opportunity. As you said, sometimes even with a curse, there's some kind of blessing in that you have a way of viewing life, and also the way that you're so positive through everything.
I have to be.
No, you don't have to be. You chose to be. Everything we feel is a choice, right? You chose to be. And then from that, I think it's just sort of, it was a great opportunity for us to connect, in the sense that I've learned a lot about you. You've hopefully learned a lot about me, because we had to talk about loads of stuff. But I think through that, it's like, it just opened my eyes to things that I myself never knew. So I think kind of the most beautiful thing about going through the process of making this film.
And I love the kind of like Ugandan fabrics involved and everything, because it's really interesting, because, you know, people like, I don't share this enough, and obviously now I'm doing loads of kind of sharing and coming out more about my whole prison sentence, because everyone's like, Brenda's so happy, she's so smiley, but like the stuff that I went through even in prison is so, like, when I sit back and look at it, I'm like, you know, just the other day I was messaging somebody from Moulton Hall, which is a foreign national prison. It's now a male detention center, but I was there when it was a foreign national prison, and I was meant to be deported back to Uganda, you know. And, you know, to think there's so much fabric, you know, sometimes if it raw, maybe if they see too much fabric in a video, they might say maybe she needs to go back to Uganda, you know, like that. Like, there's so many weird feelings, like, that you think, what if this and what if that? Like, and, you know, I've spoken to a friend now, and she's back in Nigeria, and she was with me in Moulton Hall, and, you know, she said, like, thank you for sharing the stuff that she doesn't feel like she could ever share. And that's the most important thing. That's why it's so sad, because there's hundreds of women who have been sent back to other countries. You know, some countries they don't even know, you know, as you know, certain people don't straight away leave their country and come to the UK. They go to another country and then go somewhere else. So some people are just being deported to countries that they just came through as a part-time place. There's no one there. So, you know, if you think I have to share it, and I have to be kind of share the message in what's going on, because those women, they can't share that, you know, them men, they can't share that. Those guys and women who have been killed in the criminal justice system, their families are still here kind of pushing. And for us to put something like this together to incorporate their faces, and I think that was, for me, I wanted that. Like, I think once the faces were in there, it was like, I don't even care how I look. I don't even care if my eye is looking that way. I don't care. Like, that, those faces, made it make sense, you know? So yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh. Now, what question do I have for you? I'm thinking, okay, this is your first spoken word film of this scale, right? It's very different from performing on stage. How was it for you, and what were the main challenges, and were there any surprises from the experience of working with me?
You know what, like I've done like one film with like when I was being mentored by Joel Taylor, and it was just like, it's just a film, it's just me reciting my poetry, so there's no scenes, there's no here change outfit, change look, you know, there weren't that. So this was mad, I'm not gonna lie. Them Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, them people, they're making it seem like it's nothing, yeah. And I guess because they've got money, you know, like I have to like shout out Artsadmin for making like this happen, because there's loads of poems I have and there's no videos, there's no nothing for them, and it's like people are now like, when's your next video coming out? And I'm like, are you going to commission us? Like, so I learned a lot. Like, I was like, you know, being in front of the camera, you know, I was getting upset. I'm like, the words are not right. The thing is not this. My top looks too low. Like, I've got a certain image, and I'm not trying to like be revealing too much, or like my legs. Like, so I had a lot of that in when I was thinking about it. But to be honest, apart from the weather, I feel like the weather was the one that let us down, and we still fought. Like, I don't know if people know yet, but that scene where I'm in the white t-shirt, like the wind was doing the most. If you look at the fabric at the back, it's going
out. The amount
I don't know how. I mean, I feel like if we had more time, we could have pushed, like we could have done more, like done like the shots more like, okay, let's get this again because it's warm, and you know, it's, you know, we could have shot another day or whatever. But because we was limited to time, it had to be go on, do it, bang it out, and make it just bang, you know. And that for me was something that I'm not used to. I'm used to getting ready and going to a performance and performing. I'm not used to being followed around with a camera. Like, you know, it was just it was something that I really enjoyed doing. So anybody that wants to commission us and make another, I am very open. Me and Tracy would love to make some more. Hashtag just saying, send us some money. But yeah, like I think doing it for me kind of showed me like, you know what, like this is how you put your message out there on a scale, like in regards to as an artist. I'm not like your regular artist. I don't do videos. I don't go like, you know, I'm not like, you know, it's mad. Like I'm a different type of artist. And for me to make a video, it only makes sense for it to be a campaign video, you know, and it makes sense for it to come out the way it came out and the time it came out, because I was waiting for ages. Like, you know, I was messaging Siobhàn like, can we do it in December, maybe Christmas, maybe now. Like, so I was waiting a lot, but I feel like I learned that I definitely need more time when we come to doing these videos again. So yeah, more time, more money, and maybe we can do it abroad. It will definitely be hot then.
In a different time in a year, I hope, you know, hopefully in a year's time, things will be in a better place for things like that to happen.
I know.
I do want to say that the one thing you did say that did confuse me a bit is why you felt like it can't be a music video, because at the end of the day, isn't music poetry? It is just words. It can be to music. It doesn't have to always be to music. You're just telling a story. Music is telling a story. Film is telling a story. I feel like artistry or creativeness in general, I think it can always be put on film in some kind of way. And it doesn't always have to be through words, but I think through words, it's a great opportunity to be able to put something visually together to match what you're saying. And it doesn't have to always be exactly identical. It can be parallel to what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's so interesting for the viewer to get those different takes. And again, as you said, if we had more time, man.
If we had more time, man, honestly, like we could, it was crazy.
The things we could have done. But it doesn't matter because we still did it. And I think that's the most important thing. We've started something, and that's the beginning of everything.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Cool. Let me see if I've got something. Okay. So we filmed basically the whole thing in one day with just a small team of women. Can I say shout out to all the women?
Technically four.
And some, like, we obviously had like limitations to the work we could do, obviously with the pandemic. It's like, you know, we're all, it's like this person can come, how many people can we have there? Was this different from how you usually work, and how?
Yes and no. In terms of, I've been in many situations where it has been on a bigger scale, where you're working with more people, which again, I would say is more beneficial, because then I could be able to focus on one thing, just the way that it looks and where I want to place the camera and certain settings. But when you're thinking about lighting, you're thinking of blocking, like where I want you to walk. When you have all these different aspects that you have to think about at the same time, it can get, not that it's the worst thing, but sometimes you might not pay much attention to things you should have paid attention to, which you will then discover once you get the footage back and you come home going, there's this thing in the background that I hate. And because I was doing X, Y, and Z, I wasn't paying attention to what was happening in the background. So it's more the elements of that could make it a bit frustrating, but we made it work. And also just in general, I'm a very positive person in the sense that no matter how stressful things get, even if it's just one person, if it's just like me doing everything, I'll find a way to do it with like a smile on my face, because there's always an opportunity to learn something. And I think normally when you're kind of shoved up against a wall, that's when the best part of yourself can come out, because you discover how powerful you really can be.
Literally. I
So
feel like that's how I felt.
yeah. When I was like, go change it to this, you're like, what? What? 2 seconds. So that, and then also like the element of kind of like rushing through and directing people as quickly as you can. I think that is the thing as well. Like you wish you had the time to be able to say things a lot more clearly, and it's kind of like very quick with that. While I'm setting up the camera, I'm like quickly telling you to do something, but then I might not be able to be as clear as I want, which would then make it easier for you as well. So like the elements of that I wish we could have worked on. But you know, we figured it out. I was putting lights in places that they had no business.
I mean,
I
guys,
told them
like, we need to share that picture. I will share it on Instagram, my story. That the radiator and the light, just like that picture right there, that's magic. Okay.
Basically, we had a light, but we didn't have a stand for it. And I was like, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna turn into MacGyver. Showing my age. Yes, I'm 30. Okay. This light, I put it on top of some chair, but I had to lean it at a certain aspect because obviously the light would get too hot. So I had to lean it in a very weird angle.
It looked dope.
Light to shoot onto you. And again, like if budget was bigger, we could have had more lights that are more convenient and easier to blast that area with. I obviously wish it was a lot more brighter so that we could have like a lot more control. But
Yeah.
after that, we made it work.
We made it work. We made it work. I mean, for me personally, any artists as well that are watching, that are thinking like, how do I do this? Like, you know, I think for me, I've always been a bit like, oh my God, like I need money, I need this and I need that. But again, I've never received funding for nothing. Like I've done everything that I've done. So for Artsadmin to commission this, it was like, sorry, what now? Commission? Video? I'm gonna make a video and I don't need to pay nothing. Like, you know, it's like my message is someone's paying me to put this, like, you know, they're paying for it to happen. And that's what we need more of, because like artists are struggling, like I'll be honest. But if you are, like, just try and find people ways to do it, because like Tracy said, you can still put a video out there, you know, with your face and like just like a camera and just put it out there so that there's like an image to the voice. You know what I mean? Like I feel like people like that, visuals and audio together. It kind of just gives the message a whole different meaning, because the poem's out there. It's been out there. I released it on my birthday, you know, 12th of August. I was like, I'm angry, I can't march, I need to put it out there, you know, and I put it out there and it got a lot of like response. But when the video came out, it got a much bigger response. So yeah.
There's many aspects to that. Oh, okay. For you, let me see here. One of your hopes is that The Forgotten People opens up more conversations about Black lives within the UK criminal justice system. Can you talk a bit more about the importance of that and what that means to you?
Okay. Okay, so basically, this is just how I see it, and I guess a lot of people in the criminal justice system can agree or disagree. I mean, I am a Black woman that went to jail for 2.5 years for defending their sister in a nightclub. Not once in my whole hearing or appearing in court was self-defense of another brought forward, which is something that a solicitor should bring forward. In my case, that was never brought forward. In fact, I was actually told to just plead guilty, which I did, because actually I did have a fight. I never once denied that I had a fight, but the seriousness of it for me to go to prison for 2.5 years, it's like, okay, what does that mean? And then you go to jail and you realize that there's white people that are doing the same sentence as you for like, this is like their third time. Like I remember one white lady saying to me, you got sent to jail for fighting for your sister. You got 2.5. That's well, I'm in jail. It's the third time I've done that. It's the first time I've been to jail, man. I've always usually got like, I'm looking at this girl like, do you know that you're telling me the criminal justice system is racist? But what can you say? You know, you have to go through it. And still then I didn't want to believe it until I got sent to a foreign national prison, you know, and then now I'm like, they're like, oh, you're not even British. You're going back to Uganda. Like, I wish I could find the picture, and I will probably have to share it on Instagram, but there's a picture of me dressed up, like, I think I'm about 6 years old, in like Victorian clothes, like, you know, in primary school when you have to dress up or whatever. And I'm like, what African school would I have been dressed up as a little Victorian girl? Like, please tell me, because you're sending, if you look at it, this is the person you're sending, but that could only happen to Black people. There has to come, the conversation has to happen where we start looking at Black people differently, because right now Black people are being convicted for being Black. not just their crime, they're being convicted for the fact that they are black too and committed a crime. Like, how dare you commit a crime in our country? You know, and in fact, now that you have committed a crime, you can go back to where you came from. I mean, the people in prison are not heard. They're not, like, right now we're on we're all on lockdown until God knows when. But people in prison are on 23-hour bang up. That means they've got 1 hour a day to make phone calls, have showers or whatever. Now think about the black men and women that are in jail for joint enterprise, you know, people that are in prison because they couldn't afford to get a solicitor to fight their case. So joint enterprise, I don't know if you guys know, but joint enterprise means that they can convict you because they believe you had knowledge of something happening. They don't have to have any evidence or nothing. Joint enterprise has been cut and squashed. However, there's still loads of black women and men in prison right now that need that support to come out, because in order to come out, you have to say that you're guilty. Do you understand? I think there needs to be more. As a community, we need to support each other. I would like to see things like people coming forward and making a fund for black people. You know, like, you know, we all go and buy this, buy that. Like, why can't we put our money together and put a fund together so that when our black people are arrested, they don't have to go and get a duty solicitor who's going to be like, it's all right, just no. You understand? Because they're going to end up in a situation that they can't pick themselves up. I am lucky enough to be here because I had to fight. I shouldn't then be having to fight continuously, you know, and thousands and hundreds of people should not be continuing to fight continuously. Like, if it means that we have to put like photos of black people that have been killed, and let's be honest, when I done this research, I was really hoping I didn't find a lot of people. We only put 14 in our video. There is so many, and so many stories are happening now and being told. You've got Hassan, who was killed this year, beginning of the year. You know, we're still trying to find answers. You know, and there's so much information out there if you just go and look for it, like inquest.
Where can people like find that information and do that research to educate themselves to understand how things are more, and how can they assist essentially?
So I would say Inquest is an amazing organization that, you know, supports families that have lost their family members in the criminal justice system or through the criminal justice system. So if you want to know the amount of people that have died in the criminal justice system, just go to Inquest and you will find that information. Again, like, find out, to be honest, I've done loads of research, right? And I found it very interesting to find out that in the New Cross fires so many years ago, when black people came together to walk and march, you know, about justice, so many years ago, we were like, this is the beginning, this is the change. That's years ago. We're still here doing the same thing. But in that organization, what was interesting for me was that black people came together and put money together, but £50 out of that money, and I know I'm saying £50, it's like, oh, what, £50 alone? £50 out of that money was raised by people in prison. Wormwood Scrubs, if I'm not mistaken, they raised that money to put forward. So if these people in jail are out in there fighting for them, fighting for us, regardless of their conditions, why are we not fighting for them? I said the poem is called The Forgotten People because some people have died. Some people are just in jail. They're not dead. They're still there. They're alive. We can help them. But we have to stop kind of allowing people to say, yes, black people are violent. Black people are angry. Black people as well as a whole. We need to also remember that this history of us being violent comes from, you know, back in the days when white people were allowed to go on the streets and nigger hunt. And then we was arrested with like our work suits, you know, a carpenter's getting arrested with weapons. Oh, he's violent, he's got weapons. That history, you're being told that you're violent and you're believing it. We have to come away from that and realize that people like me go to jail and do amazing things like this. If I can do it, then people don't have to go to jail. We can just prevent this from happening. So yeah, I know there's so much more that we can do, but like, I want to see funding for like young people, black people. I want to see like exhibitions. I want people to start posting pictures of, you know, all the people that they know have passed, and let's get some answers. I think families need answers. So yeah.
I have 2 minutes left, and I just want to ask you one last question because I really want to know the answer to this. How do you surrender to vulnerability? And sharing your story takes, you know, courage in a world where people are constantly going to misunderstand you and maybe take your words and take it incorrectly. How do you work on basically being able to shun that out, ignore that, and continue to share the way that you do?
I go to therapy. Okay, I go to therapy. I get some good therapy. Okay, like, if you don't go to therapy, please go to therapy. Okay, like and that's something that I guess I did before jail, but not really, because after jail I thought, why should I go to therapy? So I'm the criminal, I'm the ex-offender, I'm violent, and now I need therapy. Like, no, but I go to therapy. I go to therapy and I talk things out. I I cry. I'll be honest, I cry a lot. There's sometimes that, for example, like when I was researching some of the things that I did for this Forgotten People video, I was really hurt. And unfortunately for me, I know, let's just be honest, I went to prison for fighting. I know I can be violent. So I have to be able to school myself in how not to be violent in that way. I can be violent in my lyrics. I can be like, yeah, I'm telling you real. This is real stuff. Like, if you don't want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. But I'm not hitting anyone. I'm not physically raising my hands to abuse or harm anyone. I'm just telling the truth. And unfortunately, it's my truth. And so many hundreds of people still in jail that can't tell that story, that I feel, again, like I said in the beginning, it is my ancestors. It's those that can't speak. It's those that can't march. It's those that, are kind of, I guess, still crying out for their loved ones who, up until this day, are still waiting for some kind of justice. That this is what happened to my loved one. If we're honest, like, I think for me, I decided a long time ago that I wanted to share my story, but it's only a few years, like recently, that I'm like, do you know what? I want to share my story to the fullest. And if people don't like it, then unfortunately that means that there's something that they don't like within themselves, because I'm only making you identify what it is that is wrong with this so-called perfect world that we live. So yeah, I stay vulnerable because people that are vulnerable don't ever come out. People that are vulnerable don't talk about it. They don't share that vulnerability. And if they can see me be vulnerable, share that story, and identify in me just that one little thing, even if it's like, oh, I went to jail, or I nearly got deported, or I'm black, I can write just one thing that they can identify in me that shows them strength, then maybe, just maybe, that person will contact the person that they need to contact in order to get the support that they need.
You're right. You're right. That's the perfect way to wrap it. I love that. Well, I guess it's time for Q&A.
Okay.
Q&A.
Q&A.
Do you wanna start us off?
I think you should start us off. I'm gonna quickly check.
Let me see here. Okay. Okay. I think we can both answer this question.
Okay.
What was the significance of the stage and the microphone in the filmed poem?
Oh.
I think we can both answer that. I feel like maybe, do you want to start, or should I?
I think you start.
I knew you were going to do this. Okay. So, so essentially in the mood board, I really wanted to have a section that Brenda was essentially addressing three versions of herself. So that first version of Brenda with the microphone is supposed to be the angry version of Brenda. We could almost say the old Brenda, in that you are really letting people know exactly how you feel in the worst possible way, right? And then the second one, in terms of the table, that's supposed to be the judging Brenda. So that's kind of like when you come to terms with everything that you've experienced, and you're kind of like in this middle part where you're judging all your past actions. And then the last Brenda is the calm Brenda, where Brenda is now the peaceful Brenda, the vulnerable Brenda, the happier Brenda, the ability to see things from different angles Brenda. So I think that's where that came from for me, but I don't know what you took from that. I'm sure it's similar because we discussed it while we were there.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely the same for me. Also, it gave me, the three different versions as well. Like I said, it's me in the different stages of me coming out as an artist. Like, I've been quiet, I've been calm, I've got angry. It's those versions, but it also allowed me to, kind of feel like I'm up protesting, like, as in, like, I'm marching, but in my own kind of like way. And it gave me that power. So I feel like, yeah, that part there, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of my best parts. Like, I like changing and dressing up, to be honest, like, and telling a story. So yeah,
that's my favorite part. I just wish we had more light. More light.
Like I said, commission the people, like, we're very happy to do more. Just letting you know.
Oh, I think this question's for me.
What question is that?
Question is, what is it like for a filmmaker working with poetry rather than the prose or dialogue? Huh.
I think that's yours.
Yeah, I like how you just, I know. I think that's yours. Take. I think it's really, really different. One thing I really enjoy about poetry is that it really gives you the option to be as free as possible with what the film looks like. And I think that's kind of like one of the highlights for me, where when you're thinking of a film, it's very important for the background and the scene to match everything that's happening within that dialogue. For example, if it's like a character at their home, like or they're having a conversation on the phone, like there's certain things that you have to see based on what that conversation is like between characters. But when it comes to poetry, it is very free in terms of visuals, where the visual doesn't have to exactly match everything the person is saying. You can be really interpretive with it. You can even play in After Effects with that. And by After Effects, I mean you can then create graphics or animation. There's just so many ways that you can play around with doing poetry. And I think that's more fun. And also it's a very emotive in a very different way, because sometimes you can make people feel something without them even understand what they're feeling. And I find that quite fun, especially when it comes to like film and poetry, because sometimes somebody could be saying something, but you can make them feel uncomfortable. And you're like, but the words are telling me to relax. Why do I feel unsettled? And you're like, this is like the contrast of what life is. Well, it's exactly what life is like, isn't it?
Literally.
Things simultaneously, 3 things, 4 things, all at the same time. And that's basically what adulthood is, but no one tells you it's a cluster of confusion. So that's kind of like the fun to work with poetry versus prose and dialogue.
I think it was sick. Like, I really did enjoy working with you though, Tracy. Like, I feel like we had too many laughs. Like, at one point, I really forgot that we was actually trying to be serious. That's why when I had to get serious, I was like, oh, I'm tired.
I'm trying to make you laugh though. Sometimes you have to, you need to make people laugh to keep them working. You're like, ha ha ha, now, let's go.
Yeah, literally, you had that unlock. Like,
going down.
You had that unlock. Even with my little sister, you had that unlock because she was not impressed with the weather, and
I know.
got some smiles from her. So you're,
yeah.
So
thank you again, because I really made her take off the coat in the cold. That's just not right.
I mean, you was in the mud.
It looks great.
In the mud. So let's just get that in there. You was in the mud, okay? Like, guys, Tracy was like literally on the ground for the shot. Like, me and Siobhàn were like, oh my God, your trousers. She's like, no, the shot. Okay.
I don't care if I need to get down there. What is next for the film, and will it be available for people in prisons to see?
Okay, so wow. So we have, I think, been able to put it through for like, I think, the digital TV in prison. However, prison is prison, isn't it? Prison, you don't get luxuries and stuff like that. So I'll be honest, when I first recorded a poem with Alex, because I do weekly shows on National Prison Radio, my show's called Free Flow, and I interact with the people in prison, and we kind of get creative together. So I shared this poem with people in jail, and I kind of told them the story of it and kind of broke it down how, the film is happening and stuff. We are aiming to get it into prisons, but unfortunately with COVID, everything is just so limited. I think me and Siobhàn was like thinking, hopefully we can get it maybe on a DVD so that we can put it as an educational pack. So anybody listening that works in prison libraries staff, I know you guys are the best people to get this kind of stuff in. So I'm gonna call out to you guys, please, because this, for me, people in prison already know it. So they already know about it. They're waiting. So anybody that works within the prison system that knows how we can get this to all the prisons, because I know National Prison Radio are going to make sure that we can get this, this conversation in there. But the visual, like we said, is very important for them to know that there is people out here kind of fighting for them. So please do that. And yeah, I would also like to see an exhibition with more faces of people that have been taken from us. I would like to, I know that Jude is listening, and an amazing lady, Claire, Mile in My Shoes, done an exhibition where she had the street of Brixton just taken over. And I think that we can incorporate that. We can work with Claire and do something and get all these faces, because we need to shock people into realizing that the justice system is a mess, and sometimes you just need to shock people into realizing that this needs to change. And maybe then they'll start to realize something's not right, because until the criminal justice changes in regards to the day of arrest, sentencing, going into jail for Black people, we will continue to have a lot of people being in jail and angry. Like, imagine going to jail when you didn't even commit the crime and they want you to come out and be nice. Like, I wasn't even that nice when I came out. I was angry and I committed my crime. So think about that. So yeah, I want to just see more conversations. Anybody that works within Parliament, guys, shout me. Like, I'm willing to talk to you if you're willing to talk to me. And I want to talk about this 500 prisons that's being opened. Like, what are they for? What are they for? Can I please be in those conversations? Anyone that's in them, thank you.
And the last question.
You haven't said what you're doing.
What, me?
Yes.
Oh,
what would you like to see for us to, you know, move forward with this?
To be honest, I would really like it to be seen by more people who can give us more money. But more in the sense of, because then we can make it on a grander scale and take this story further and this conversation further. Because as you said, the amount of research that you went into, not just only writing it, having experienced some of it, but then also the research that you've done for it, that's a really good opportunity to really put together a piece where we can take a look at all of that.
Yeah, because we could even work with the families. You know, there's a lot of groups that are working with these families. You know, Deborah Cole, I know, is one of them. Like, you know, so yeah, there's a lot more to be done.
It's like, even if it could be like a 20-minute or 30-minute like documentary where it went from poetry to a piece where you're actually going in, having these conversations and trying to educate people more. And I think, as I've said, like, no matter what side of the fence people are on, only conversations can break those barriers and improve situations.
Yeah. And if we start having more of these conversations, people that are in jail that are going through it, that feel like they're forgotten, they will start to feel like they are human too, and that someone out there cares about them. And trust me, when you have someone on the outside caring for you, oh my God, it does you so much. Like, you will do everything. You don't want to get in trouble because you don't want to disappoint. You understand? So like, just, yeah, let's do this, man.
My mom used to always say to me, every single time you meet a person outside, they can be having the worst day and they can be extremely rude, but maybe sometimes you being nice to them could change their perspective on everything. So that's why sometimes when people are horrible, yes, it might annoy me, but I will always choose to be kinder, because sometimes just that interaction could help shift someone's perspective. So
honestly, just say, like, literally, I think even just seeing young people, I've seen young people on the roads, and you just think, you know, all that person, just a hello, simple, that can change his whole. Because just looking at him funny, I think as British people, we need to just be more friendlier to each other. If COVID hasn't taught us anything, how much we're connected, we should just be more caring to each other.
How much does everyone miss hugs? I do. I miss hugs. Can't hug no one anymore.
Because you're scared, and everyone's like,
it isn't me. I'm just
think about that in prison. How everyone is like, I've been telling people in jail to cover their faces with t-shirts and stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, you can't do that because we need to identify you. And as soon as they get COVID on the landing, all of a sudden, oh, it's, you know, you need to wear masks. So yeah.
Brenda, I have one last question for you. Do you miss live performances?
Oh my God, I really do miss live performances. I really do, guys. Honestly, I miss everybody. I miss performing and going and speaking to people after, having a little drink, talking about the next event we're going to. I really miss it. Like, performing on Zoom is great, guys. And don't not book me because I said that. But like, honestly, honestly, like, being out and performing to people, with people, I really do miss it, man. Honestly, it is bringing me down. Like, it's been hard to be Lady Unchained and Brenda, because Brenda, like, you done the 3 versions of me. Brenda, the angry one, is there like, what's going on? Like, so we're just in the house. Lady Unchained is like, be calm, it's okay, you're gonna get through this, you can perform on Zoom. And Brenda's like, no, I didn't see people, I've been to jail already.
Oh, positivity, come on. You will perform again. You will come back again.
Yes, amen.
And also, like, they have like all like these virtual concerts and everything going on. Like, there's a way to make it happen. There's always a way to make it happen.
Definitely. So Artsadmin, we need to do an Unchained nights on Zoom, man. We need the Unchained nights. I know the artists are hungry to perform as well, just like me. So yeah, let's make that happen.
Exactly. And on that note, Siobhàn, we're ready. We're finished. Oh, don't you love Zoom?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm back. Oh, guys, I've just been sitting here like smiling so much, like the whole way through, just reminiscing on the process that we all went through together to make art in a pandemic and to make art under lockdown restrictions and, you know, amongst our well-being being this wobbly, I don't know. So yeah, thank you so much for working with Artsadmin. And yeah, our relationship with Lady Unchained is very special to us, and now with Tracy as well. I suppose, yeah, the biggest takeaway is thank you. We have put some resources in the chat about more reading that people can do on this subject, because I understand that this is quite emotive, this is distressing and potentially triggering for people. So there is some resources in the chat if you want to read some more, get involved in campaigning, just educate yourself and others, I suppose, on what's actually happening in our UK prison system, not just over in the States. I don't really need to say anything else apart from massive thanks to everyone who's taken time out of their day to probably be on screens for more time in their day, possibly. So cheers for that.
Thank you so much, guys.
And we're going to leave this call open for 5 minutes or so, just in case you want to look in the chat and get those resource links, or you want to post anything in the chat that we missed or haven't seen, that we will grab it and hopefully try and get in touch with people if there were any other messages to get through. Cool. I think we can end there. Brenda, Tracy, thank you. Rachel, thank you.
Thank you,
and Rachel. Yeah, just a bit of wonderfulness in our living rooms. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to the audience for coming.
Thank you so much.
Understand what black is, the source from which all things come, security blanket for the stars. Understand what black is. It's not a color, it's the basis of all colors. It is not a complexion, it is a reflection of all complexions called human. And out of this blackness, passion flows like a river. Feelings tell the truth. Song and dance and making you laugh are family members. Understand what black is. The breath you breathe, the sweat on your brow, the cheers and the tears balancing the world on your head. Faith is the glue that holds us all together. This is your blackness. Not some horror story of lost souls drifting into the land of perversion. Blackest love is a light shining on a path leading to the sun, or caressed in the bosom of the moon. Understand what black is. Power you must yield to. A force so strong we try to sleep it away. They say you must be electric and plugged in to the sockets of the world. Black is humanity. Understand what black is. Understand black. Black is humanity. That beautiful chord on a 12-string guitar that makes you smile, that offers comfort in turbulent times. provides food when there is nothing to eat, a shelter when there is nowhere to live. Black is humanity, making hope stand tall and not wilt, because black knows, did it before, tested by fire, washed in the waters of life. Black is hot, black is cool, black is wise, and could never be a fool. Understand what black is. Black is a hero, not a villain. Black is the essence, sealed with a kiss. Black is a stone to build our dreams on, a shadow at evening's mist. Bigger than reality, blending in to the night, to let the sun chill and watch the stars dance in rhythm, in music, to our souls. Understand what black is. Understand